Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 117 of the Social Liability Podcast, the podcast where we discuss those folks in our lives that violate the social contracts that we all agree to live by. I am your host, the Razgreaves, with my co-host, the Buck, bringing you new and interesting stories from the far reaches of the interwebs. And this is the early morning edition of the Social Liability Podcast.
God, you are never, ever doing the intro before 8 a.m. my time
It's,
ever again.
dude, it's not even 7 yet.
Yeah, I've been awake and ready to do this since like before 7 my time. I woke up at 6:20 and I was like, "Hello world, ready to record." I let the dog out. Everything was good. Then I'm sitting here in front of the freaking computer monitor and I'm like, he meant 7 a.m. Central Time. Oh. I was like,
Oh.
oh. I just sat here and watched some YouTube, but man, never again in the morning.
Yeah, so we typically record around 9 or 10 on Saturday, my time on Saturday, so closer to lunch for you. And it usually works okay. You know, it gives me time to roll my butt off the bed because I don't get up out of the bed very quickly nowadays. And, get in the shower and get loosened up with the hot water and get some fluids in me and get moving. But not today. So my oldest has decided that he is really into airsoft. Now, I want to point out that he's never played with an airsoft gun. He's never been shot with an airsoft gun. But he really is into airsoft, and he wants to go to an airsoft field today. And by God, if I'm not taking him, so I'm going to take him to get his ass shot up.
That's gonna be epic. Oh man. Just imagining the Razlet getting pelted by like a hail of airsoft bullets and just looking at you being like, never again. Just like, oh, I know that's not how it's gonna go, but that's how I envision it.
Oh, it's going to go one of two ways. Either one, he's going to like just nope right out and walk right out of there, or he's going to get mad and he's going to turn into fucking little Rambo.
That's either way, man. Either way, I can't wait. I can't wait to be regaled with the story of how this went. Like I'm on the edge of my seat. But what do we got this week from the gallery of rogues, man?
well,
What are we looking at?
well, we're going to get there, Buck. I just it's funny because I just realized, if you watch the video version of the podcast, we have little chibis of us in the corners, and I never changed it from last week when it had our friend Blue Duck Gold Duck sitting in, so I got to change that now. Now we have the Buck chibi back on there, so I had to change that real quick.
Oh my gosh, you can't get Buck or Duck right.
Hey, at least I said the name right. Our first story, though, comes from Yahoo News. And it comes from Yahoo News because do you have a subscription to the Tampa Free Press or the Tampa Bay, whatever it is? There,
No, but I am an avid like looker at Reddit, and that's
well, so you
where I
send me
find.
these. There's this Tampa Bay newspaper you send me stuff from all the time. And I can't open them because I don't have a subscription. So I had to go search for the story
Oh,
elsewhere. But I did find it. This is coming from Yahoo News, which I'm assuming is just an Associated Press article. But nope. Actually, I'm reading it right now. It's the Tampa Bay Times article. I guess Yahoo News picked it up. Four men accused of dressing up like cops while robbing and shooting people who were believed to be drug dealers, including Hillsborough and Pasco counties, according to the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Middle District of Florida. The men were indicted by a federal grand jury in April and faced charges of conspiracy, interference with commerce by robbery, and using, carrying, and brandishing a firearm during the during and in relation to a crime of violence, according to the indictment. they could face life in federal prison. Oh, jeez. Sorry, it's this morning crap, man. I'm not going to make it. The men charged are Reginald Roberts and Nathaniel Keith Carr, both of Lakeland, Daniel Jackson and Winter of Winterhaven, and Kershaw D. Earl Butler of Bartrell. These are like the whitest names ever. From December of 2020 to April of 2021, the men committed at least 5 armed robberies, including 2 in Zephyrhills? I'm not sure, and other parts of Plant City, Lakeland, and Cape Coral. 3 of the robberies resulted in shootings, according to the U.S. Attorney's Office, though it wasn't immediately clear if anyone was injured in the shootings. The men targeted people who were believed to be drug dealers, authorities said. The men wore black gloves, masks, and clothing with law enforcement insignia, vests, and sheriff on them, according to the U.S. Attorney's Office. They also drove black Dodge Durangos and white Chevy Malibus that had blue lights and sirens during some of the robberies. According to the indictment, the men robbed people of money, narcotics, jewelry, iPhones, and a firearm at the victims' homes. The FBI led the investigation with the assistance of the Florida Highway Patrol, the Hillsborough and Pasco County Sheriff's Office, and other law enforcement agencies. Each of the men faces a mandatory minimum, including 31 years in federal prison for Roberts and Butler, 24 years for Jackson, and 14 for Carr. Butler and Carr's first court appearance took place Thursday. Jackson and Roberts will have their first court appearance on June 7th. I'm sorry, it sounds like a public service.
I was just thinking like some real Robin Hood stuff, man. I'm like, wow. But but still, man, they're impersonating cops and shit like that. Like,
and they could be wrong. Maybe they're not drug dealers. Maybe they're just drug enthusiasts.
yeah, I'm believed to be drug dealers. I believe was how the article put it. They believed them to be drug dealers. So, it's armed robbery is still armed robbery.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's not immediately clear if someone was shot or not. Well, I mean, let's face reality here. If they were actually drug dealers, I'm actually surprised we knew it happened. What are you gonna do? Come up? Hey, we just got jacked by some fake cops. Well, who are you? Well, we're the local neighborhood drug dealers.
I think that's why the victims were selected.
Oh, absolutely.
Like the very fact that I got to give them points for such an elaborate scheme means that they get a 4. I mean, like that in itself, just the fact that I kind of tip my hat the ingenuity of this heist. Like, I guarantee you, the only reason they didn't get away with it is because they got greedy,
or they talked about it.
Greedy or proud.
Yep, those are your two. Those are the 2 Achilles' heels of all crime, really.
Yeah, I'd like to say that I knew some good criminals, but the second you begin to work in a jail, you no longer know or associate with anybody who's a good criminal, because good criminals don't really get caught. So, it's just I'd like to, I don't know. I don't even remember where I was going with that.
Who knows?
Move along.
So here's the thing. Like, we all get the scam phone calls, scam emails. Jesus Christ! Did you just punch your microphone?
I just hit the noise filter. Sorry.
But
it must have been where all the damn noise was stored up, man. It sounded like it cracked pretty good. Sorry about that.
So we all get these not crank phone calls. I'm sorry, the scam phone calls, scam emails, and they work, or they wouldn't be, or people wouldn't do them. Did you just bust ass?
No, that's my seat cushion. It's wow.
You're like Mike is on like super today.
That's because last week it sucked.
Anyway, I'm gonna try for the 4th time to tell this. The reason it works is because it actually preys more on the elderly than anything, because they're not really hip to the latest trends in the way things work. And the other reason is too is when it does happen, they're oftentimes too ashamed to report it. Most of the time, when you hear about the this person got scammed out of this, that's one in like 50. I mean, they don't report them. So by going through this, even if the people did figure out they weren't cops, which I'm sure they did when they got let go and all their shit was gone, uh, who are they going to report it to? I mean, it's like I'm trying. There's an analogy I was going to use, and I'm not going to use it. I just realized how much I'll get canceled if I do mention that one. But if you're a criminal and you're a victim of a crime, who do you report it to? Not the cops.
No, man, because you got to take the walk of shame and be a snitch. Like, the second you go to the cops in the criminal world, man, you're a freaking snitch. Doesn't even matter if you ask a cop what time it is. If you're a criminal and they see you talking to a cop, you're a snitch.
Oh yeah. I mean, I mean, straight up honest. There was inmates I didn't like. I'd make it a point to have conversations with them. Pleasant conversations. I'd go to their cells and have conversations with them. Yeah.
Yes. No, I'm actually like sighing and shaking my head because you legit did that. That's like, oh man, you had your own like homing douche missile. You were like, well, you just like you really did. But do you agree or not, man? These guys settle up for a 4. I mean, like,
Yeah.
what do you
I
think?
mean, we as far as we know, no one was actually shot, and I kind of like the idea of criminals policing criminals, but you got to give them the 4 because they might not have been right. Okay.
Yeah, but I mean, like impersonating police to that degree, getting like vehicle blue lights. I mean, like they've been at this a while. Like somebody put ink to paper, had a clipboard. Like somebody really put some elbow grease into this scheme here. Like that's we're not dealing with like trailer, mobile home, regular folk in Florida. Like these are some very talented, you know.
Florida, Florida, Florida. Our next story
Yeah.
comes from GameRant.com. Not one of our usuals, but let's go with this. Burger King employee arrested for stealing Pokemon cards. Yes, indeedy. Although many fads have come and gone in the blink of an eye, Pokemon is here to stay. The series has seen highs and lows, but has remained a big part of pop culture since it took over the world in the late 1990s. Pokemon cards have remained a popular pastime as well, but recently Pokemon cards have seen an increase in popularity as streamers open sealed decks and rare cards become even rarer. This has led to an increase in value and unfortunately a rise in Pokemon card related crime as well. The most recent example comes from Pinellas Park, Florida. My God, they're all Florida today. Where a Burger King employee has been arrested for the theft of Pokemon cards. To be clear, this isn't related to the Burger King Pokemon card giveaway of any kind. Rather, the employee stole the cards from a Walmart. Why does it have to mention the Burger King? Brandon, I'm not even going to try to pronounce that last name. The accused walked out of a Walmart with packs of Pokemon cards in his pockets and backpack. The CCTV footage taken from the store led to his arrest, and it was determined he had stolen $149.72 worth of Pokemon cards. That's actually pretty easy to do, let me tell you. An Elite Trainer box, they go for over $100 in themselves. The man has since been charged with retail theft, for which the punishment can range from 16 months in prison to fines of $400. You've ever noticed that when they have like 16 months in prison or a fine up to $400, that seems a little disproportionate. Like,
Really does.
it really does. Whether or not the law will pursue punishment going that far is unknown for now. At just under $150 worth of cards, it's a far cry from some of the other Pokemon card thefts recently, like the one that stole $250,000 worth of cards from a collectible shop. Pokemon card thefts and general misbehavior surrounding the sales of cards have become a major problem. Lately, all over the place. The stores like Target have had to remove cards from their shelves in the past, while at least one thief rather has been shot. In a disturbing trend, especially when you consider that it revolves around a kid-safe card game. And unfortunately, crime and Pokemon have made it in the news before, as mobile game Pokemon Go has seen many crimes committed since its release, ranging from people driving while distracted to players being injured or killed by criminals while trying to play a game. Okay, so this story is like all over the place, and the writers should be ashamed of themselves. Like Burger King
Well,
employee arrested for stealing Pokemon cards. It had nothing to do with Burger King at all. Like nothing, not one iota, other than the fact the guy worked at Burger King. The crime didn't happen at Burger King, and it had nothing happened to do with Burger King. Why did you have to bring Burger King into this?
right. And another thing is that wasn't Pokemon invented when we were kids?
Well, yeah, in the '90s, yeah, late '90s, or I'm sorry,
Yeah. So, I have a real problem with them asserting that it's a kid's card game. It's
hey,
like,
I've played
I'm
it,
sorry, man.
dude.
Like kids grow up, man. Kids grow up, and then they carry their love and their ambition for certain things into adulthood. Like, wouldn't it make sense that maybe some disgruntled and disturbed are also pro Pokemon?
Yeah, like 3 years ago, I played at the Pokemon World Championships.
Right. But see, like, what are you guilty of there? Following your dream? Like, go ahead, man. How many other people like can even have the means to pursue that kind of recreation? Like calling it a kids game, that's a real slap in the fucking face.
So
I don't I don't I don't I don't play Pokemon.
both my kids got into it, and I actually didn't get into it until later in life. I played the video games. 1995, and they say late '90s. It was 1995 when Pokemon in the United States, Red and Blue came out for the Game Boy, and I played it then, and I played a couple of the other games, but I never got into the card game until later in life when my kids decided they wanted to do it, and there was no league. So it's like, well, I guess I need to become an event organizer and then learn how to become a judge so that I can start my own league so my kids have a place to play. Shout out to Four Corners Comics and Games in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania for that opportunity, by the way. Since then, I've actually gone. I've been flown to different places to be judges at Pokemon tournaments. I did. That was quite the thing in my life there for quite a while, but I haven't with COVID, everything kind of went bleh.
Yeah, well, just the very fact that there's a world tournament for it, makes it really not that much of a kid's game.
There's
You
divisions.
know,
There's actually divisions. There's the juniors, the seniors, and the masters division. My kids, when they we all three of us went to Worlds. They played in the juniors division. I played in the masters division. My oldest right now, he's not involved in it anymore, and I kind of wish he was because he'd fall into the seniors division. And it's funny because the seniors division is the smallest. It is, the kids they're really big into it when they're young. Then when they hit that teenager age, they all of a sudden don't want to do it anymore. So that the division shrinks to minimal size, and then once they get back into adulthood, they get back into it in the masters. Because it's just not cool when you're a teenager, but it's the field is so small that if you're actually a competitive player, that he could go far.
I almost got really offended there when you said it wasn't cool as a teenager because I was going to be like, I played Star Trek, the card game. I played Magic, the card game. But then again, I was not cool either. So I was like, I think I'm gonna die on that hill. Like,
so
I'm not gonna go there.
so here's the thing. This is a petty retail theft. I do think it's I had another podcast. It was a Pokemon centric podcast. It was the Mount Moon Review. I did it with Blue Duck Gold Duck, and that we talked a lot about the thefts that were occurring back when they were first kicking off, and the thefts are one thing. Would you stop with the chair? It sounds like you're busting ass. And
I'm so sorry, man. I'm sorry. I'll stop.
you stop. So, but the scalpers are the thing that really pissed me off because there was people scalping the cards like you wouldn't believe. They would go out and stalk the delivery drivers and you know buy up every single thing in a store so that kids couldn't get involved. Well, here's your thing, folks. If there's nobody getting involved in a hobby, the hobby dies. So if kids can't get the cards, they're not going to be interested in it anymore. The hobby's going to die, and the value of everything's going to tank. So that's probably not the brightest idea in the world. This guy, on the other hand, he's stealing. That's just straight up. He's just stealing the stuff. Probably hoping to flip some stuff for a quick buck. And that's a liability in of itself, and I'll give him a solid 2 any day of the week. But I think
I'll co-sign that too.
I think Sarah Fields, the author of this article, needs at least a 3 for being a shitstick clickbait artist. What the hell did Burger King have to do with this? And it's this whole big thing about talking about all this crime revolving around Pokemon. No, it's there's other games out there. There's Ingress. There's a Hogwarts game. There's a Jurassic Park game. They're all based on the same concept for the mobile game. People are doing the same shit. Just Pokemon has the biggest IP. By the way, that is the most valuable intellectual property on the fucking planet. By the way, so of course you're gonna let's pick on that. I think the article's just shit. My opinion.
Either way, I'll co-sign that.